Beated dog I've turned you into.
Are you alright, Joey?
Surrender, Yugi. That is, unless you have the courage to unleash your attack.
Hello everyone, welcome to Glop Top 10 channel. Today we are going to talk about Top 10 Worst Things Seto Kaiba has done. But before starting the video, if you have not subscribed the channel yet, please subscribe and also press the bell icon now. Let's get started. Number 10. Rubbing salt in the pharaoh's wounds. If a duelist plays the seal of Orichalcos, the loser gets their soul taken. After the pharaoh activates the card and is beaten by Raphael, Yugi's soul is sealed away in his stead. The defeated duelist agrees to call his billionaire rival Kaiba to get some help saving Yugi. But when the rich boy finds out the pharaoh lost, he doesn't handle the news well. Kaiba immediately starts screaming at his rival. He calls the pharaoh a disgrace for losing his title. Although we weren't expecting Kaiba to give his rival a pep talk, we at least hoped he would express some sympathy. Way to kick a pharaoh when they're down, Kaiba. Number 9. Betraying the Big Five. When Kaiba was a child, he wanted control of Kaiba Corp. He agreed to share power with a group of executives called the Big Five if they helped him with a rather convoluted takeover plan. They agreed, and what was the result when he finally got control? He stripped them all of their power. Their intense anger over Kaiba's betrayal eventually led to a whole filler arc where they attempted to hijack the bodies of Yugi and Ko from inside a virtual world. And to think their reign of terror could have been avoided if Kaiba just honored his end of the deal. Number 8. Using duelists as bait for rare hunters. The rare hunters are a group of shady duelists who love stealing high-quality cards no matter the cost. Ishizu asks Kaiba to lure these criminals out of the shadows by throwing a tournament where competitors have to bet their rarest card. Without asking any follow-up questions, he immediately sets it up, while also allowing the rare hunters to hack into his company's system and enter as many people as they want. By allowing them in, he put all his tournament participants in unnecessary danger. Rare hunters had no problem ambushing innocent people or sending them to the Shadow Realm after all. Number 7. Showing no sympathy for Alistair. Before Kaiba Corp focused on games, they provided weapons of war. Unfortunately for Alistair and his village, tanks and bombs hit harder than a Blue Eyes, with all the chaos separating him from his brother in the process. When Kaiba discovers his company was responsible for tearing two siblings apart, he shows no sympathy. He insists that it wasn't his fault because he wasn't running things at the time, before going a step further and actually blaming Alistair for losing his brother. Since Kaiba is extremely protective of Makuba, you would think he would be a little more understanding. But instead of offering condolences, he sends Alistair's souls packing without mercy. Number 6. Pulling the pharaoh out of the afterlife. After spending 3,000 years trapped within the Millennium Puzzle, the pharaoh finally got to rest in the afterlife. Of course, Kaiba being Kaiba, he couldn't handle not being able to fight his rival again. He uses his considerable resources to go to Egypt, find the puzzle pieces, and then bully Yugi into putting it back together, only for him to prove the puzzle no longer contains the spirit of the King of Games. This leads Kaiba to do what any reasonable person would do, use a magical item to transport his soul into the afterlife, so he can fight the pharaoh there. Kaiba truly has no respect for the living or the dead. Number 5. Constantly bullying Joey. Kaiba's hobbies include duel monsters, building dragon-themed jets, and insulting Joey Wheeler. Despite the fact that they're both respectable duelists, the two never got along. Kaiba could never resist an opportunity to make himself seem superior while insulting Joey's skills. Unfortunately, the bullying often went beyond harsh burns. He made sure that Joey had too low of a ranking to compete in the Battle City tournament, and keep in mind this is the same competition that allowed literal card thieves to enter. Kaiba frequently failed to look beyond his elitism and blind hatred to recognize Joey's true talents. Number 4. Hurting Yugi's grandfather. It's crazy to think about how evil Kaiba was in the very first episode. When he finds out Yugi's grandpa Solomon has a Blue Eyes White Dragon card, the rich boy tries to buy and trade for it. When his offers are refused, Kaiba sends his goons to force Solomon into a duel. From there things just spiral, with the duel leaving Gramps way worse for wear, all before Kaiba pours salt in the wound and tears up the Blue Eyes right in front of him. The shock of seeing his treasured card being torn to shreds didn't help Solomon's medical condition. Number 3. Failed to provide medical attention. Nearly every duel that took place on the Battle City blimp was a shadow game. The loser of each of these matchups ended up unconscious or worse. But no matter how bad their conditions got, Kaiba refused to redirect blimps so people could go get proper medical care, repeatedly allowing matches to continue. At one point, Yugi and his friends had to literally beg Kaiba to send doctors to a nearly comatose Bakura. We understand that the young business prodigy doesn't believe in magic or shadow games, but Kaiba should believe in the lawsuits he'll receive for not getting people help sooner. Number 2. Forcing Yugi to surrender. During Duelist Kingdom, Kaiba's sole goal was to save his brother from Pegasus' clutches. But to do so, he's got to wipe out Yugi and the Pharaoh in a rematch. When things start to go pear-shaped, Kaiba threatens to step over the castle's edge if he loses. Although the Pharaoh is willing to let Seto Kaiba fall, Yugi takes over and lets himself lose the duel. Kaiba's desperate threat is an incredibly cheap way for him to win. He also never stops to consider Yugi is also trying to save a loved one. Kaiba was clearly willing to do anything to save his brother except to ask for help. Number 1. Nearly blowing up Yugi and his friends. It's official, playing against Seto Kaiba is also liable as a death sentence. As the Battle City finals come to a close, Kaiba decides to cap things off with a literal bang by setting the island to self-destruct, all without making sure anyone else got off safely. If Yugi and friends hadn't found a spare helicopter, they wouldn't have survived the explosion. Meanwhile, Kaiba was safe and sound in his iconic Blue Eyes White Dragon jet. What's more, when he discovers that the rest of the cast nearly perished, he makes fun of them. This stunt should have landed Kaiba in jail, but the cocky duelist went free and went on to host more life-threatening tournament. So if you like our video, make sure to give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Click the bell icon to hear more from us on each video and comment. Let us know your thoughts on whether or not we missed anything, and I will see you in the next video.